You guys, sorry I can't be there today. My daughter is getting brace work done. So, anyway, what you need to do to take these notes is I have copies of a seed handout for you. And what I'd like for you to do is we're going to tell the story of germination. So, all the events have happened: flowering, pollination, fertilization, seed dispersal, and now that seed is in the soil and it's ready to grow. And so, hopefully, one of the things that you thought about or discussed with a partner was that water is the number one thing seeds need to germinate. Some people think it's soil, some people think it's light. It's not. We can grow seeds in a mason jar with paper towels, and that's without soil. Most seeds are under the ground. Some seeds can actually be planted almost a foot underground and they start growing. So light is not needed, but water is absolutely needed. So pause this video. I want you to think, why water? If we're talking about germination in a starchy seed, what is starch? What kind of macromolecule is it? Is it a protein? Is it carbohydrate? Is it a lipid? Is it a nucleic acid? And then why is water important? Because what does the seed really need to do in order to grow? So pause the video and consider that.
She's just doing a voice recording.
So you can hear my daughters in the background. I'm doing this the night before our lesson. All right, so on the front side, or whatever side, one of the sides of the seeds, I want you to take that seed and I want you to go ahead and annotate its anatomy. So seeds, they have anatomy, kind of like you and me. Theirs is simplistic. So water's way important. So right here, I'd even draw a dot there. That's called the micropyle. It's going to be a little pore that allows water to get in. And I should have probably started here too. The very outside of the seed is a seed coat called the testa, and that's there to protect the embryonic plant, there for protection. All right, where the majority of the starch is kept in a starchy seed like a bean is the cotyledons. So they're here and they're called the embryonic leaves, which really frustrate me, as I guess a student frustrated me, because really they're there for a source of energy. They're really not there to do photosynthesis. There's two other parts you need to know. There's the epicotyl, also called the plumule, and that's going to be the very first true leaves. It's going to be the shoot that grows up the stem and the leaves. And then the radical leads to the roots. So that's right here. All right, so I would definitely get this terminology in as well. So we've got the anatomy and then we've got its function. All right, so let's start to tell the story. On the back side of your notes, you can tell the story like this. So it's not the same bean seed, but it's one that's similar. So I would actually write these in steps like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what you'll have is water will enter through the micropyle, and it's going to activate these plant hormones. Now, this is the second plant hormone we're talking about here. These are called gibberellins. So water comes in and activates the gibberellins, and gibberellins will actually synthesize this molecule here. It's called amylase, and we know it's a enzyme because of the ASE ending. All right, so step 1, water enters. Step 2, gibberellins help synthesize amylase. Step 3, here we have starch, and I would actually draw it out. So a series of alpha and beta linkages, and starch is a polysaccharide. It's a type of carbohydrate, and amylase helps break it apart, and it needs water to do that as well. So that's a hydrolysis reaction, I'll remind you, when we're breaking things apart. The Opposite of that would be putting things together, and that's a condensation reaction. All right, so hydrolysis happens and maltose is made. So here's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, I believe. Maltose is a disaccharide. Maltose needs to be made into glucose. Why? Well, if we need a lot of ATP to grow, we need glucose because we need to go through cellular respiration. And the first step of that is glycolysis, and it needs glucose. So maltose is broken down, guess by what enzyme? Maltase. It's another hydrolysis reaction because we're breaking apart a molecule. Water has to be added into that, and that forms two molecules of glucose. These, I would continue on with these notes, will aid in cellular respiration to form ATP. All right, so that's the story of seed germination. I hope that helps. Thanks, guys.